I remember the year 2016. Oh, what a year. What a year. And the movie, and there was a great buzz in the film industry and on social media of a movie coming out on Nat Turner, a slave that rebelled and killed a good amount of white folk. And in that build-up, and in learning about Nat Turner, because admittedly, before even that buzz, I had never heard of him or learned of that story. And that buzz, we learned of the director, Nate Parker, and how well he had done, and how he was scooping up awards at these film festivals and gaining support and finances to release the film nationally and globally. I think it might have been globally, don't recall. And when it seemed like he was about to hit that peak, in just a few months, or maybe a month before the film released, we were all given a glimpse into his past about charges that he had faced with sexual misconduct. I don't know YouTube rules. I don't know if I can say the other word. I don't even know if I can say that word. And immediately, you saw posts and please boycott the film, and that no matter what the film's about, that it cannot be supported if you love women and if you stand with victims. And I remember at that time, and I'm a sophomore in college at this time, and I remember even at that time, I was like, oh, y'all just don't want people to see this movie. I don't even think y'all care about this case. And I had people around me, friends, who also saw this as a play. But of course, especially it being 2016, there was just waves of women, feminists, and people who played the role as such, who were biting teeth and nail to tear this film down. And its director. I remember even a black woman who I've gone to high school with calling for those not to watch this film. And my knowledge of entertainment and mass media has spanned longer than my life, as I spent great detail watching movies and shows with my grandmother from her time, and then my mother, and my grandfather, and my father. And I could watch how things turned out and how things were explained in comparison to after the fact and during the present of whatever happened. Maybe I remember at the time watching in the 90s these shows of my mother's youth and the energy that those shows carried, and not knowing of hierarchy, or not knowing of funding, or not knowing of ad space or distribution, could view those shows and the idea that those shows were the same as any other show. But then to fast forward and then to look back and see how those shows may not receive the same admiration, the same continual promotion for reunions and streaming, and even reverence from the masses. It gave me a sense of time. And so when I saw the accusations represent themselves against Nate Parker at that timing, I saw it as a play. I saw it as a move on a chessboard and not a cry for help or a plea for a victim. But when you're pulling at the heartstrings, per se, or the emotional dignity of people, the morality of people, it's hard to say that and to call it out. Just because a wrong is a wrong. But then as time has passed and you look back, it's clear to see that as soon as the film finished its run and it lost and dwindled from the news cycle, that the talks of the victim and the crime and what should be also disappeared without a care. And so then you can see what the action is. Then you can see what object or what cause that the action actually was against. It had nothing to do, well, the action was regarding Nate Parker, but what was being fought was not Nate Parker. It was that film, and it was that message. And that's all I have. I wasn't here to give specifics, just to point that out, and how time makes things clear. But if we go back and don't fall prey to time, but a student of both time, history, literacy, human studies, then we will not fall victim to time and the present or a play, but we can be chess masters ourselves and see things from both sides of the chessboard. Don't be a victim. Get into the game.